Hello everyone, my name is Ronnie and I'm here on YouTube talking about my raw vegan diet and lifestyle. And in this video we're going to talk about how much fat to eat on a raw vegan diet. This is a really big question for a lot of people, and I think a lot of people get this wrong and there's a lot of mistaken ideas about it. So the problem here is, or the issue is, that it is very easy to eat a lot of fat on a raw vegan diet. And a lot of people that get into a raw vegan diet and start experimenting with it and experimenting with raw foods, they end up eating a lot of their diet as fat. And one of the reasons for that is that we're so used to eating a pretty high fat diet anyway. But it's also the fact that when we look at all the raw foods that are available to us, that the fattier foods tend to mimic the foods that we used to eat on our previous diet, and they also give us a sense of heaviness and a sense of satisfaction, maybe in some way, that kind of heavy feeling that we might think of as satisfaction that we remember from our previous diet. But also they have a tremendous amount of calories, which makes it quite easier for people to get the calories they need eating fat. And most people, if you experiment with a raw food diet, that's what they would tend to do, unless if they'd never been told anything about it, they would end up eating a pretty high proportion of the diet as fat. And as I was saying, one of the main reasons for that is fat is calorically dense. So it has a lot of calories for a small proportion. That's quite similar to the diet that people are used to, eating small meals that are very concentrated calories, or relatively small meals. Dr. Doug Graham, who's been a raw food teacher for many years, he says that over the years that he's worked with people, that so many people, when he actually looked at their diet and broke it down, they were eating a raw food diet that was 60 or 70% fat. That's far higher than the average diet out there, which is already very high in fat. And that's really the reason, is that people aren't eating enough of the other foods, the vegetables, but particularly the fruits. So when we come to a raw food diet, we have to change our conception of what we're eating, really. We're no longer eating these big savoury meals, these fatty savoury meals. What we actually have to change is the idea that fruit can be a meal, and that fruit can be a big part of our diet. And for human beings, the food group that we want to make up the most of our diet is carbohydrate. And there are many reasons for that, but the principal reason is that carbohydrate is the body's preferred fuel source. It is the preferred fuel source of the body, and that is something that is just, it's not something I'm making up. You would find that in any nutrition textbook. And throughout history, people have based their diet on carbohydrates. And athletes, when they want to perform at their best, base their diet on carbohydrates. They are the most important part of getting our calories every day. So what's the problem with, or why don't people eat enough calories? Why don't people eat enough carbohydrates on a raw diet? Well, it is because the carbohydrates on a raw diet mostly come from fruit, and people aren't used to eating a lot of fruit. You've probably been taught when you were younger, don't eat sweets before the meal, or cut down on sweets, and there's a lot of negativity towards sugar and towards sweet food. So we're very unused to doing that, and we're trained kind of to have very small snacks of sweet food. But babies and small children always go towards sweet food. That's what their instinct is really going towards. So we just need to when we go raw, we need to get back in line with that instinct to eat sweet food, to eat sweet fruit as a big part of our diet. But it's very hard to make that change. It's not so difficult to eat fruit for breakfast, and a lot of people are on a fruit for breakfast plan. But fruit for lunch is much harder. For you to get to lunchtime, and instead of having that baked potato or whatever it is you have, to have fruit, That's quite a big change for people to make, but that's what we have to do to be successful in a raw diet. And then even to eat fruit for dinner, well, that's once again kind of a tough change for people to make. But if you make that change, you will feel the fantastic benefits of a raw diet and eating a fruit-based, a fruit-based raw vegan diet. Health-wise, the reason that we want to reduce the amount of fat in our diet is because it allows our body to perform better, quite simply. And as the fat rises in our diet, as it rises, there's things that start to go wrong. There's problems that start to occur. Our body doesn't function as well. Our blood, now you might not notice it so much, but it can be measured in terms of our bloodstream. A high fat diet is a problem whether it's raw or not. It's a problem in all situations. So how much fat to eat in a raw vegan diet? The amount of fat that is in our natural diet is the amount of fat we should really eat, the amount of fat that we're adapted to eat. In all fruits, almost all fruits, the fats are below 10% of total calories. Almost all fruits, but not all. And if we think about nuts and seeds and other things, we would eat them and would have access to them in nature, but we wouldn't eat as much as we do when we can buy them in a packet from a shop. And we certainly wouldn't be able to make tahinis and nut butters and things like that out of them. We wouldn't be able to eat oils and things like that. So we would eat fat, but it would be seasonal, it would be smaller amounts, it would be a rarer thing. But in our natural environment where we evolved, fruits were available throughout the year and were a sustainable calorie source for us, and they averaged less than 10% of calories coming from fat. When you go towards this fruit diet, which is an appropriate amount of carbohydrates, then your body will function optimally. So that is the amount of fat to eat is really that amount in fruit. And a lot of people might worry about healthy fats. What about your omega-3s, omega-6s and all these other fats? Some people are now claiming that they need to eat cholesterol. We need to eat saturated fat. We need to eat high quantities of these things. Well, we do need essential fatty acids, but these are in our fruits and vegetables. As long as we eat enough calories from fruits and vegetables, we tend to get enough of all of these, of all the other nutrients that we require, especially protein and fats. So the omega-3s, omega-6s are in all fruits and vegetables in a proportion that is better for us than eating high quantities of nuts, seeds and oils and things like that. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope it's given you something. If you want to read the blog that I've written about this, you can go to fruitfest.co.uk/blog, and I've written this out in a little article, and I've also sent it out in an email to our newsletter at fruitfest.co.uk. You can join our newsletter. And right now I want to thank people as well if you signed up for UK Fruitfest. Thank you very much for registering. There is now not very many spaces left, but if you're interested in learning more about the festival and see if you qualify to attend, fruitfest.co.uk/webinar. I'll be doing a couple of webinars this week and you can learn more about the Fruit Festival. Thank you for joining, thank you for sharing. Please feel free to put your comments below, share the video, let me know your thoughts on this subject, and we'll see you in the next video.